let's go ahead and get this started. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Let's go ahead and start talking about motivation, meditation, inspiration. If it's not one of the three, I don't want it. So, putting yourself in a place where you have the ability to utilize the tools that you have is super important. Making sure that you utilize those tools in that way give you the ability to utilize the things that you have inside of yourself. And so, for instance, I left my iPad and my cell phone in the car last night so that I would make sure that I would get up in the morning and get in the car to be able to do a video rather than bringing it in my room. So are you asking yourself these types of questions? Am I getting down with my focus inside of who I am? Am I getting myself to that place where the reflection is shining outwards, where what I am is what I look inside to become? Are you going within yourself to get to that place where the challenges that you face off against are your responsibility? Your ability to go within yourself to become the solution to your own problems. And so when we start asking ourselves these types of questions, we start to go within who we are. We start to become the person who is focused from within who we are. We give ourselves the ability to recognize that we have to set places aside for us to be able to take on those tasks. We have to set places aside for us to be able to have those types of challenges. And for us to be able to overcome those types of challenges, we have to block everything else and put ourselves in those places. So that when things come up against us that is not us, the ultimate solution is you. The ultimate ability is to go within yourself, that the reflection from within yourself is the place where you want to be. Where when people are with you, it's because they want to be with you. When they're in your day, it's because they want to be in your day. It doesn't matter what other people do. It matters what you do with your own day. How you are willing to challenge yourself. What kind of abilities do we have inside of ourselves? What kind of challenges are we facing off against on a daily basis? And how we utilize our focus, how we get down with the person that we are inside and start grinding to the point where the challenges that we face off against on a daily basis are the result from our own work. So when we look inside of ourselves, we recognize that if people are there or not there, it's the same. It is up to us to set aside our tasks, to set aside our goals, to not push those people out of our way. When we utilize them for who they are, we start to understand that the challenges that they face off against are their own. When we go within ourselves and we find that place, we start to recognize that the procedures that we put ourselves through are individual. The path that we go on is individual. Having a companion or a journey or a path is up to us each individually to find the strengths inside of ourselves. So when you start to allow yourself to block out the things that are not making you who you are inside, then you start to get down with yourself, and that place of focus starts to open up. That place of absorption, of understanding the reasons why things have to happen so that you can actually utilize them to help you to focus. Each morning I do a morning shake. I put myself in a place, in a way in which I make sure that I put myself first. You know, when you put yourself first, there's going to be times when you have to retune yourself. You have to ask yourself this type of question. This universe is going to ask you the question, is this what you want? Is this the place where you want to be? And so you have to start to get more disciplined to the point where the challenges that you face off against on a daily basis are you. The person that you are inside is you. The things that you go through are the challenges that were placed before you to focus, to utilize those challenges to overcome anything that you would face off against on your daily basis. Are you allowing yourself to enjoy that process? Are you putting yourself in that place where you are starting to utilize the tools that you have inside of yourself? And so as I was sitting there, I started asking myself these types of questions. Why am I here where I am right now? Why are these challenges that I'm utilizing And how can I use them as tools? How can I not allow that to happen in the future? And I recognized that ultimately the reflection comes from within ourselves. The understanding of each individual's focus is their own. And so when you recognize that within yourself, that means that you are unstoppable in this universe. You are a place in this universe that is a reflection outwards of your level of absorption. And sometimes we get ourselves into a path or a journey that is stopping you from having the ability to get to that place. Are you asking yourself what kind of goals you ultimately want to achieve? Are you putting yourself in a place where they become a part of your daily task? And so as we start to get down with ourselves to that point, as we make sure that we set our offices up and our facilities up in such a way that they have the ability to enhance your ability to get to that place, they give you the ability to go within yourself to find the reflection that shines outwards. Are you getting down with yourself to that point? Are you getting into that place? Do you find that within yourself is the best place that the reflection shines outward from your level of absorption? And as I sat there and looked up at the stars, I started to realize how beautiful this universe is, how much me being myself is a blessing, how much the ability to reflect outwards is a understanding that the journey that I have is just my own. That if people want to be a part of my journey, they're going to have to come to me. If they want to be a part of my path, they're going to have to come to me. And when I started to recognize that, when I started to understand that there is no challenge that I can't overcome by myself, when I started to recognize that I have the ability to pull myself up, when I look at the focus outside and I see that beauty, I have to start asking myself what kind of tools are giving me the ability to utilize that. And so as we look within ourselves, we recognize that we won't allow those types of things to affect us. There is nothing that has the ability to affect the one that doesn't have the emotion to be affected. So as I elevate myself to that place, as I put myself in that place where this journey and this path is me, where the ability to go within myself is a place of reflection, where I start to utilize this, things move out of the way. They have no ability to slow me down. They have no ability to hold me back from myself. And when you look inside of yourself to that point, you ask yourself that type of question, am I focused? Sometimes we got to answer that as no. Sometimes we got to say to ourselves, I got to get on my own grind. I got to get in my own path. I got to get in my own lane to get to that level of focus. And so when we utilize the tools in this universe, we give ourselves that place. We give ourselves that ability to recognize what we need. We start to recognize that there are challenges that you're going to face off against on a daily basis, but they are meant for your growth. They are meant for you to see that they are there for you. When you see those types of things that are blessings in this universe, when a person decides they want space from you, it is not a place for you to go, but within yourself to find the reflection. I'm so happy that I had the ability to sit outside and look up at the stars yesterday. They were so beautiful in this universe. There is nothing that has the ability to stop me from being myself, because what I treat everything as if it was loaded, as if it was heavy, as if it was a box. And there is no easy box in our day, our week, our month, our year. So you might as well throw everything that you got at me, because what I got is a level of focus beyond focus, where I go within myself to find the answers, where I go within myself to find the solutions, and the reflection that shines outwards comes from within. So when you ask yourself these types of questions, you ask yourself this type of place, start to look at what you're doing, how you do things to those people that are around you, because as they allow you to come into their day, They were going to stay in a place of focus where you're going to have to work for it. You're going to have to grind for it to be just next to them. If you're understanding what I'm saying, in other words, how you treat other people comes back to you from their level of focus. And so it works both ways. So when you respect other people's space, it is identifying that they have their own path, they have their own journey. But if they don't respect your own space, your own journey, that is up to them. And so as you get to that place where you start to focus, and this goes down to the positions that we hold in our day. This goes down to the places that we go and the challenges that we face off against daily. Are you putting yourself in a place of focus? Are you giving yourself the ability to grind to that level where you can shut things down, and so that way you can put yourself in a place where your focus becomes a reflection on the outside, where the reflection from within you is you. And so as you start to get to that place where you utilize everything, where there isn't a challenge that doesn't come from within yourself, you start to recognize that the place where you are is exactly where you are is because who you are was meant to be right there. When we are a part of our present and we take understanding in our every single day, the reflection that shines outwards, when you get to that place where there is no challenge too great for you, then you start to understand that things move out of the way. You start to understand when you get so focused that you could teach people all of these things. And it's up to them to start to understand what you're saying. Start for them to understand that when you are around, that you are a blessing, that you are a person who is so focused to the point where the challenges that you face off against, you can overcome. And so when we look inside of ourselves and we start to recognize that that is a place that we have to go individually, that we have to start to get down with who we are inside, that the challenges that we face off against come from our own level of focus. The things that are not meant for us move out of the way. And so if you guys want to be around me, you have got to look at how you don't tell me to move or to tell me to leave. Because what happens, I will go within myself. I will find the reflection of the strength to elevate myself to that place. And I want you to see that focus is very important. Focus is a place where you have to ask yourself, is this what I truly want? Is this who I'm going to truly become? And as you answer those types of questions for yourself, look at what you do in your day, how you do things, and the people that you allow next to you. Because as we put ourselves in a place, as we center ourselves into our level of focus, it's going to come down to what kind of tools we use in our daily. And so when we look inside of who we are, when we get to that place inside of ourselves where we start to answer our own questions, is this what I truly want? Then we start to recognize that the people that we cut out of our day are because they're not there for what we truly want. When we send out knowledge and we say that we care about somebody, are we still their companion on a hard day? Are we still in our own path no matter how they're having a day for themselves? Are we putting ourselves in a place where the reflection is shining outwards, where what you have inside is you? Are you asking yourself this type of question? And so how do we respond to those types of answers? We go within ourselves. We start to find that the reflection that shines outwards is from our level of focus. It's from the person who is willing to go to that point. There is no place for an emotion inside of me. There is only the ability to become a reflection on the outside, to understand that those types of things can't happen to me because what I have inside of myself is a reflection on the outside. That now you're going to have to work for it to be next to me because I'm going to set myself first. And so as I reflect outwards, it's going to be you that's going to have to come to me. I have a reflection that shines outwards from within my level of focus. I am centered into the place within myself where the reflection shines from within who I am. And so when we look at what we have inside of ourselves, we ultimately have to get to that place where the absorption comes from within who we are. And so going within who we are is a place. And so those people that might want to cut you off for a day, they would cut you off for a week, a month, or a year. So they need to recognize that they can't do that type of a thing to you in the future, because that creates a reflection on the outside that comes from within. They just have to communicate themselves to you clearly. And so as we focus, as we get to that place where the reflection is on the outside, where what you have inside of you is focus, you start to see that the challenges that you face off against change anything that's around you towards you. And so as we get to that place inside of ourselves, as we get to that challenge inside of ourselves, we start to get as into a level of understanding that what we have inside of ourselves is a reflection on the outside, and that they don't have to say nothing to you. They don't even have to say anything. The reflection that they see outwards comes from within you. The understanding inside of yourself to get to that place where they got to come to you. And so that's fine. That's fine that those people want that for themselves. That is fine, because what I have inside of myself is a level of elevation. And I want you to recognize that the tools that we have within ourselves become a reflection on the outside. If they want to be with you, it's to be a part of your journey. It's to be a part of your path. It's to be a part of your day. And if they don't want to be a part of your day, they can move aside. And so what type of strength do we have inside of ourselves to get to that place? That's the utilization, like putting the computer inside of the car to make sure that you get into the car to do your video, to make sure that you don't allow the subconscious to have control of the conscious, that I am going to get up and get in the car to put out a video, that I'm not going to do that in a place that's not meant for me to do that, a place of rest, a place of reflection. When we get down to ourselves, where we allow ourselves to have that type of time for ourselves, that's fine. It's fine to get to that place and to allow ourselves to have that type of time for ourselves. It's not a problem. It's the communication with each other that has to get to that place. When you want others to understand that you want the time for yourself, it comes down to your level of focus to explain to them the type of time that you want for yourself, not for them to have to understand that. And so when we are that focused, when we are that driven, that the things that are not meant for us move out of the way, then we start to ultimately go within ourselves. We start to answer the types of questions for ourselves. Am I focused to be in this place? And when we look back at that, when we get down with ourselves to that point, when we get to that place inside of who we are, where the reflection comes from our level of focus, then it is ultimately you versus you. I always said this was a lonely path. This is a lonely journey. This is not about caring or not caring. This is not about caring or not caring. It's all about you versus you. How you put yourself in that type of a place where you do those types of things to the people that you call and have knowledge to say that you're caring for. And so when you listen to them and you respect them for that, okay, but it's also up to them to explain to you what they mean. And if you have to figure that out for yourself, they move aside. And so when they come to you, they have to come to you with respect the same way. They have to come to you with the understanding that the challenges that they face off against on a daily basis cannot break you from your own journey, your own path. And so as you focus to that point, as you get down with yourself to that point, you have to ask yourself this type of question. How do you put yourself in that place? Can you get to that level of focus? Can you get down with yourself to that point where you are honest with yourself, where you go within who you are, where the reflection that shines outwards comes from within yourself. And so, as they're going to have to work to get close to you again, you recognize that you are focused and that what you have inside of yourself separates you from everybody else. It allows you to be who you are individually. So let's start talking about how we can utilize these types of tools, how they can apply to our day. So let's start looking at how we can start to write stuff down. If we start to get into the rituals inside of ourselves that allow ourselves, there is always ways for us to do it better. There is always places for us to utilize to a higher level, to gain a greater relationship with the tools in this universe, where we have the ability to go within ourselves to the reflection that shines outwards. When they recognize that it is not okay for us to say to those people that are focused, that keep us as centered on their focus, to leave them alone. But in other words, to say, I need a little time to myself. When we get to that place where we recognize that within ourselves, it is a level of maturity to want to have space. It is a level of maturity. It is not that stops us from focusing. It is up to us to get to that place of focus where we can recognize that others need that type of time for themselves as well. So as we get down with our own levels of focus, as we go within a side of ourselves for solutions, as we find the path within who we are, we ultimately find that we are a tool in this universe. And if people don't want us around them, it is up to them to get to the place where they ask themselves those types of questions. If they want to be next to you, they're going to have to allow your focus to work in you. And if they want, and vice versa. And so respecting each other is very important. Respecting ourselves individually, respecting our bosses, and allowing ourselves to have the positions in our own life. That is a super important thing, that you are allowed to be yourself. It is a blessing to go within ourselves. It is a place within ourselves that separates us from anybody else. The difference between me and anybody else is I have the willingness to go to the place of focus within myself to destroy anything that is anything less than who I am inside. When you recognize this, you have no fear within this universe. You actually have to put yourself in a place where you ask yourself, what type of elevation am I going through today? The reflection that shines outwards from within yourself is a liberation. In other words, when you are willing to be focused, when you are willing to go to the point where there is no challenge too great for you, when you go within yourself to find the answers to the solutions, then ultimately you need nobody to save you. And so when you recognize that I don't have to say nothing, that I got within myself out of what I have inside, and that you are blessed to be next to me, that you have the ability to be next to me is a blessing, that now those types of people are going to have to work to be next to me, because I'm so focused that I will drop those emotions that don't allow me to be myself. And so when we get to that place where isolation is a blessing, where isolation is a blessing within ourselves, where the ability to utilize it for our growth is there, when you recognize that the person that you love is inside of you, when you have that kind of caring knowledge that the focus that you have inside of yourself is a reflection on the outside, then we utilize what we have. We utilize the challenges that we face off against on a daily basis. So if you ask yourselves, is there an emotion to stop you from being who you are? There is no emotion to stop me from being myself. There is no place to get me upset or to take me to the place where I go within myself. So as we find that reflection on the outside, we utilize every challenge that we have as a focus. We utilize it as the ability to go within ourselves to find the reflection on the outside. And so there is nothing that can stop me from being me. Nothing in this universe has the ability. If you hear what I'm saying, if you understand what I'm saying, recognize that caring about somebody is explaining to them instead of pushing them away. When you start to focus to that point where the things that move out of the way are the people that are not meant to be a part of your path, not meant to be a part of your journey, then you also have to utilize the focus that you have within yourself to get to that place to ask yourself, is this the type of person that I want to be with? And so as we get to that place, and in our daily, we put ourselves in that place where our profession has the ability to come from the reflection outwards from our focus within who we are. We start to get down with the person that we are inside. And so as we start to answer these types of questions for ourselves, we start to ask ourselves, should we have done what we did? If we ask ourselves those types of questions and we start to put limitations on the ability to have a focus within ourselves, then ultimately the only person you're hurting is yourselves. So take this to your professions, take this to your places, take this to your companions, the understanding that focus is an absorption. The ability to go within ourselves is a reflection outwards. And so when we reflect outwards from our level of focus, that those people that we are pushing away, that are meant to be next to us to help us to grow, they also are going to move you out of the way when you are not meant to be next to them. When you are not meant to be next to them, you're going to have to work to get next to them. So as we focus to that point where there is a ability to go within ourselves, where we are the solutions to our own problems, there is no ability for a thought to have a place to stop me from having that place of focus. And so, what kind of reflection do you want? What type of reflection do you want from within yourself that shines outwards? It is not about an emotion. It is about a reflection. And so possibly certain people in the past might have utilized that as a place to ask for space. They might have pushed away their companions so that they could say, I want space. And that's okay. That's perfectly fine to want that. It's about how you utilize your level of focus, how you express yourself, how you get down to being honest with yourself inside. And so as I get to that place of reflection, I started to understand that the blessing of being by myself was a great thing last night. That now I understand that there is no challenge that I can't overcome, which means that you are blessed to be next to me. And those people that are in this universe are blessings, and each of you have a place and a purpose. And so if you're searching for things outside of yourself, then you're searching in the wrong place. If you go within inside of yourself and the reflection shines outwards, then you're in the right place, which means that isolation is a blessing. The ability to go within yourself. If you ask yourself, am I focused enough? And the answer to this universe is yes, I am. I'm focused to the point that there is nothing that has the ability to stop me from being myself. And so as we become that kind of reflection on the outside, as the people who want to be around us don't push us away, as they start to answer those types of questions for themselves, when they want space, they express it properly, that you don't have to say nothing, because now the focus that you have is centered upon yourself, and they're going to have to find that inside of themselves to come to you. Are you in that place? Are you asking yourself that type of question? Are you giving yourself that ability to go within who you are, to find the solution for the answers to the questions that you have? And so as you recognize that these challenges were meant for you, as you recognize that this thing that you are going through on a daily basis is no different than yesterday, next week, next month, next year, you have to start to ask yourself, how are you putting yourself in a way that the focus is becoming a part of your daily? Are you giving yourself that place where the reflection shines outwards from within yourself? And so when somebody says to you that I want space, are they communicating it properly, or are they just pushing you aside? And so when you ask yourself that type of question, when you get to that place where the reflection shines outwards from within yourself, and they start to say that they just wanted space, and that's why they pushed you away. Ultimately, what they're saying to you is that I wasn't focused enough to give you the respect, to give you the ability to understand that voicing myself is to use the whole entire ability to use my level of focus so that you understand. And so I don't have to say nothing. It is not up to me to have to reflect back on that. It is up to you to reflect back on that to come to me. And so as I go within myself, as I get closer to the knowledge of focus, I want you to understand that the ability to go within yourself is a tool. It is the ability to go within yourself that becomes a reflection on the outside, and that it's not okay for people to treat you with the ability to just say, but they have to give you the ability. They have to give you the understanding of the reason why, instead of just, I want space. Reflection comes from your level of focus. And so what you reflect outwards, other people will understand. And so when you break your own focus, when you put yourself in that place, when you take away from those that you think that you're going to subtract, you're actually adding to their ability to focus to the point where you are not their necessity.